So for today, we're going to be talking about credit. A lot of people in not only in the group but on my Instagram as well. Looks like you guys are all concerned about your credit. Now, credit is a good thing and a bad thing, right? If you don't have money up front, this is where credit is a good thing. You can always use your credit to pay for things that you will be able to pay for probably in next week, in the next within the next month, whatever it is. You'll have that money up front available for your use. All right. Now, waste credit can be a bad thing is now if you don't know how to manage your finances, having all this money up front is going to be a bad thing because you will go ahead and spend it because it's available. Our credit is a trust which allows one party to provide money on resources to another party, wherein the second party does not reimburse the first party immediately. All right. So the one party would be you, and one party would be the bank, right? Credit is a trust which allows one party to provide money. So the bank is going to provide money or resources, and most of the time is going to be money to another party, wherein the second party does not have to reimburse the first party immediately. So I don't have to pay back the bank as soon as I use this money. I usually have until the end of the month to pay my minimum payment. All right. But promises either to repay or return these resources at a later date. All right, so credit could be anything. It could be money, it could be store credit, stuff like this. This is where all different things come into play. But for today, we're going to be talking about credit in regards to money. The big five factors of your credit score are 30% is going to be of how much you owe. 35 is going to be payment history. So payment history number one, you do not want to miss any payments because the minute you miss a payment, your credit score is gonna dive, right? You don't want to miss any payments. This shows that you're untrustworthy. That's one, and just overall, it's not a good sign that you're missing payments. All right. So number one thing you want to keep in mind when you have any credit cards or spending on credit is make sure you make that payment on time. Regardless whether it be a minimum payment or full payment, just make sure you don't miss that payment date. All right. Now, some people what they do is they don't pay their balance or anything until the day that they get their statement. Um, and they were told that this was the way to run your credit. This is not the way that I operate my credit. What I like to do is whatever I purchase on credit, I pay it back at the end of the week. All right. I've had many people tell me that I should keep the balance there all the way until the end of the month, so it can at least get registered as a balance. But um, I I was doing it for as long as I've been 18. So what is this? About 6 years now, and it didn't make a difference, right? If I did hold that balance until it got registered, it affected my credit negatively, right? It showed that I had a balance.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is in regards. Well, maybe it's a little different topic, but um, as far as I don't know if you personally, if you have an Amex card.
American
I
Express.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm actually thinking about getting one. I'm pretty good with my credit. My credit is pretty high up there, but I still have not yet gotten a an Amex card. In your opinion, and you don't have to answer this now. Just by the time that you finish up, what what kind of Amex do you have, and like what would you recommend?
All right.
Uh,
So I'll show you right now which ones I
from
have.
your experience, yeah, from
Yeah.
your
So from
experience.
my experience, right?
Mhm.
So personal cards. All right. Let's see if this loads. All right. All right, don't worry about that. All right. So I had this gold card right here, this American
Mhm.
Express gold card. Now the
Yeah.
annual fee is $250. It was
Okay.
nice and all. I got it just because it kind of looked cool and it was gold. But uh, if you're not really traveling much, I would say it's not really worth it, right? This is more tuned towards people that are traveling. You get
A lot
maybe
of
get like
rewards, huh?
a checked in bag or something. You get a lot
Yeah.
of rewards and stuff, but it's more tuned towards travel, right? The American Express as a whole, all these membership rewards points and stuff, they're all tuned towards travel.
Okay.
That's where you're gonna get the most of your value for American Express cards. All right, for me, when I use a credit card, I prefer getting the cards with cashback. It's a lot better than points because if you were to redeem these points for cash, the amount that you're redeeming them for is not going to be worth it, right? It's all this is where to get you that if you redeem it for flights and stuff and travel, it's worth a lot more than if you were to get it for cash.
Okay.
All right, so this 60,000 membership rewards points, this is pretty much going to be like 600 bucks on regular cashback cards. But when you
Yeah.
redeem it with cash for cash on American Express, it'll probably knock it down to 400. Right.
Okay.
So it's like a point five. Uh, you're getting point five to every dollar or something, or 5 cents every dollar, something along those lines, right? But it's definitely more tuned towards um travel, right? So if you're not,
Travelers.
yeah, if you're not
Okay.
traveling much and all that, uh,
No,
this $250 annual fee is not gonna really be too appealing.
make much of a difference. Yeah. Okay.
Whenever you guys apply for credit cards, try to get the ones with no annual fee because last thing you want is like most of these cards. I have 21 plus cards, but I don't
Wow.
use all of them, right? I pretty much when I was building my credit from when I turned 18, I would open these cards just to get the bonus at the beginning. Once I got the bonus, I was done with the card and I stopped using it. All right. You have to in order to keep them open though, you have to use them at least once a year or so to at least show that you're at least you still have some activity on the card. I do have cards that were closed because of inactivity, mostly store cards like Macy's, JCPenney, stuff like that. What I notice is around like 2 or 3 years after there's no usage on the card, that's when they start to close these cards. So if you use your card at least once a year, you'll be fine with the activity. When you haven't used the card in a while, they'll notify you before they close the card. um, Most of the time, they'll send you like a little letter in the mail. They'll tell you, oh, you have been inactive for whatever amount of months it was, and if the card isn't used by probably a certain date, they'll close the account. Right? Usually, when they send that, you use the card that one time, and it resets the whole cycle. So if you could just set up something to automatically pay on this card per year, that would just keep it active right there, right? Just one transaction. All right, so I have this one. I had the American Express Gold. I closed that one because I wasn't really using it, and it had the 250 annual fee. What else? This other one right here, this everyday credit card is pretty much very similar to the Blue Cash, except the Blue Cash is just like I think 5% get 5% per category or something. They're both pretty similar, right? So I have those two, and then I had this one, and I also have the Delta, which I'm kind of fake for, right? The Delta Sky Miles. I had the blue
Yeah.
one, all right, and this one is no annual fee as well. Never cancel any of your cards. If you have a card with annual fee and you don't want to use it anymore or whatever, don't cancel the card. Just call the credit card company, tell them, oh, is there any way I could just downgrade the card, whatever, or transfer it to a different card, and they'll most likely allow you to do it. All right. So I downgraded mine to the blue card right here. What I use this card mostly for is rental cars, right? These credit cards, if you rent a car under the credit card, you don't have to purchase the insurance with the rental car company. Pretty much you have insurance coverage under your credit card for rental cars. So your payment history. So we left off over there. So number one, don't miss any payments. All right. Next thing, amounts owe. So 30% of your credit score is calculated with the amount you owe. So that's the next biggest factor over here. Now this goes back to utilization. So a lot of people ask me, how much of my credit card should I be using, stuff like that. Typically, what you want to use, yeah. So
So
the utilization calculator. So if you use 0 to 9% of your credit
yeah,
card,
there
that's
we go.
per
Yeah.
yeah, that's considered excellent credit. Credit utilization at least. 10 to 30% is good. It's not the best, and 30 to 49 is now you're starting to push it, right? So try by all means try to avoid getting to this yellow point at least. Try to always keep it less than 30% utilization, right? So
And
now if you have a credit card with $1,000 and you have say five more with $1,000 in total with say a total of 6,000. Now that doesn't mean that if I use 5,000 on well, say $1,000 limit. If I use $1,000 on one card, that doesn't mean that I'm 100% credit utilization, right? I have $1,000 out of 6,000 that is being used. So if you do the math, it's whatever. Let me see. It's a $1,000 being used out of 6,000. It's based on your total amount of credit available, right? So that's what your utilization is based on. So if I have my card that has $1,000 limit on it, and I used $1,000, which is 100%, um, and I have available on my other card 6,000, I'm only really using 0.16. So let's say about 17% um of my total available credit. So my utilization would be 17% instead of 100. All right. So always try to keep it um below. I will say for me with 815 credit score, I definitely keep it below 10%.